when you think about infrastructure again paying dividends, are we too short-sighted? Are we looking at it as, hey, we're investing now, we expect a result in 3 months, 6 months, a year? Should we be reframing it to that investment in infrastructure is it a multi-decade investment?
I believe it's fundamentally got to be built around a long-term vision, right? Because of the capital required to implement these things, and B, there's physical planning and construction required, right, to go out. And so if you have a community of a sufficient size, you need to do a lot of thoughtful planning. One of the things we haven't touched on is the aesthetics of deploying all this technology, right? Al mentioned finding the right assets to hang infrastructure from physically, but we find now that concealment and the aesthetics of the deployment are as equally important, if not more important, to the community as the underlying technology and infrastructure and capability is, right? So it does require a careful amount of thoughtful planning. Permitting process varies considerably across many communities, right? That sometimes is the longest leg of a project. And so you got to take a long-term view and be very patient and kind of manage your constituents and other leaders that have a stake in these projects along the way.
Yeah, I think people sometimes forget about the when we say the word infrastructure, that it actually requires sometimes you're trudging up yards, you're digging up roads, you're making a mess to create something that is ubiquitous, right? That it's
in doing these projects, Nick, and working with cities throughout the U.S., to be successful, it takes a village. And when you build a broadband infrastructure, you may think the IT department is the lead in a lot of these projects, but oftentimes it's public works, right? Or another city department. It could be the Department of Transportation if they have access to fiber along the right of way. So, the ability to go in and work with these cities and what's kind of fun about these projects personally is that a lot of these departments don't know each other before we start the project. And, when the project's done, the vision's a common goal of connectivity. It's pretty cool to be involved in, especially if you're someone who's used to just cleaning out traffic control cabinets, right? Now you're actually seeing the fruits of your labor because you're impacting people in your own community, right? With connectivity. So the ability to break down those political barriers, even within a city, and these types of projects, it's a community effort that provides for a community outcome.
And I think when you tie this to digital equity and digital inclusion, it's really becomes very easy to feel a sense of purpose in what we're pursuing, right? I think, we've talked a little bit theoretical about how cities are going about this today, but this is happening, throughout our communities in the US.